because from what we've seen, if you're slowing down right now, there's no possible way to keep up and hit that top 100. Game 3 is now underway, and we're going to be tuning in still towards that south side of the map. It's NA East, it's the semifinals, and it's that top spot you have to strive for, or you're going to be left behind. Still though, the big thing is being in the same game, getting into the same fights with other people at your drop. It'll be the big opt versus Locksit. Locksit's low right now, playing for position. A medkit, a bandage will not be enough to stop a charge pump at your box. It's gonna be up against attack. I mean, you don't need to predict it. You don't need to hype it up. We already know what happens time and time again.
Well done though to win the early game fight. That will give him his first 5 points of the game. Walkman in this game.
Lose your position, you fall way far behind compared to everyone else who's playing the game for loot. And then you end up getting picked off. Marauders though next to Rubified. This might actually be a fight that the big op wants to go straight for, because there's way more than a third party. It's a fiesta that's going on in Rubified's box. He's already down to brick, a metal. Basically having no mats, these Marauders will not stop, and now Opt is speeding way up to catch things before they end. Okay, I think it was Opt. Okay, as long as it wasn't the Marauders, I'm fine.
Well, clearly they had a big say in that.
Yeah.
I think maybe they beamed him down and Opt got the final shot even. I know Nico has gotten 2 eliminations in this game so far, and he was in top 10 for quite a while. One of the players who performed very well in week 2 of the FNCS Invitational that you pointed out aptly. A fight with Frist at Caddy Corners, so maybe a reason for Frist's success. And we get to watch it this time.
I mean, this looks like a loose fight too, because it's been going on for so long. Investments in a very high box, but you don't really get to see this POV too often. It'll be Wolfie that Frist is playing up against. When will the first shot land? That will dictate who's kind of the controller for this fight. Even though Frist is all the way near the top side, he gets a nice shot onto Wolfie, but Chuck splashes are there. This is going to be a long one. You mentioned these games getting a little bit more loose, slowing down in terms of the lobby size, but it speeds right up. Frist just drops in the box. It's on a time trial.
Gears.
Yeah, it's on a complete time trial, because the more games that happen, the less you have left to play. Then it starts to get even tighter. So you mentioned Nico. We look at Frist, the way they're going for these fights in all inning. You only have a few more games to be able to do this. Then you're at your last chance for the NAE semifinals.
Yeah, you're right.
And Booga's usually coming out on top. No difference here today in this game. Maybe they don't get into the same one afterwards. But right now we're watching Cosmic move. Fryst is caught up towards the zone. Might have to use that shockwave launcher to get past or get by, but he'll take the shots first. There's Cosmic with his first voice, his first say in the game. A big snipe followed by a perfect beam.
Frist on the side of this too, potentially a snipe target for Cosmic. It's funny though, you say his first say in the game, yes, definitely in terms of eliminations and points, but even him just being on that ridge, looking down into that fight, gives those guys the fear in their hearts to move forward, because down, up, and up a ravine is so difficult. There's a snipe from, I can't quite read the name, but it was a nice shot regardless.
Very safe to rotate, but scary. Now so much more open in Season 3. This is Weeping Woods, and it's crying a lot more than usual. A lot of water in that POI. But now here's the main man who makes other people cry more. It's Booga.
Into that qualification, but then had some unfortunate circumstances in the grand finals that prevented him from going much further.
How this man plays, where his mindset is at, what are his strengths, his weaknesses. Because he's been here for a long, long time. He's had many different roles, being the IGL of trios and squads, being the solo clutch player like Commandment is for Satan Staff sometimes. But right now, he's based up. He's playing the tactical side of the game. Frag going down. Okay, so the brains are here for Smack today.
At least the positioning. And that's where he shines, in my opinion, the best in terms of endgame positioning and understanding and recognizing the layers. Basically what I would call spatial positioning. Bronos is gonna go right next to Kadrint. Oh, what a play from Bronos. Using the pepper and catching one of the top players right now by surprise. Right on the side of him, he will take him down instantly and still able to escape so fast, a thief in the night.
fast and furious, drifting in and out with the speed of that pepper, and leaves a wreck behind for Taken and Fearful, who have to just try to climb out of the driver's seat and move towards the next zone. It'll be crash pads used as insurance to catch up on lost time. Meanwhile, though, while these guys have to move, there are gatekeepers in the form of Walkman, who's near the top, Graska, who's trying to climb up, Divine, who's in the top 3, looking down, and then our man of the match, in my opinion, from last game, Strobe, who is in the exact same spot that we saw before. I'm curious what his loadout's going to be. Right now, though, the 2 players we're focusing on is Bronos, who got that slick elimination moving forward, and Ronnie, who had the most control last game and an opportunity to win it out with the Caddy launcher.
Ronnie, remember last time he almost came out on top with the shockwave launcher, but somehow traded it out. I would love to figure out exactly how that ended up unfolding, but regardless, he almost gets one. It's smacked down below. Perfect. He goes back into his old builds to take those shots. Now zone pulling up north, mostly water, but pulling towards Clicks and Edgy, who we saw earlier at the docks.
So we have winners basically controlling where the zone has to go. We have these controllers on low ground in the form of Kaz and Smack, who we've seen eliminations from before. We have Neon, who I just need the name of, who is so scary to play against box to box, especially on rotations. That's where he gets his eliminations. And right now, Ronnie is waiting for people to move over. It's a threat on all sides. My gosh, there's too many things going on. It's so hard to keep track.
Yeah, with all these different perspectives right there, but Ronnie is paying close attention to who is opening and who potentially could get sniped in the face. He trades out the hunting rifle for 2 extra floppers, and now the crash pads, which have not been elapsed, almost goes up to height, but slightly mistimes that, not quite hitting the mark. Booga down on low ground. Ronnie gonna go for height up against Kaz. Only a couple layers though as he stops, and nobody really controlling it. There's Clicks in the middle of all this congestion.
Suddenly the people who were low ground now have the control on height. Smack and Kaz have upgraded, promoted all the way towards the top. Ronnie, though, still editing, looking for shots. It seems like the top 3 are side by side. Divine and Niddle, box to box, looking for their next moves. Old trio partners, Clarity and Booga, sharing similar bases, similar spaces. And unknown players who are still trying to make their rise toward the fame, toward the top side of Fortnite comp score on the outside of these builds. Nico actually picking off Edgy near the top side. So not only does he get the loot, he stops someone from accelerating their game and taking over the #1 seed for NA East.
And don't forget the thresholds that we're keeping track of. First place before this game was 168 points. So for Booga, it's about 40 points that it needs to go. And top 100 right now stands at 76. Let me even get a closer update on that with no spoilers at all. 104 is currently that top 100 threshold. So let's boost everybody way up in this game, specifically Booga, potentially going to be able to do that, possibly even get closer and closer to clinching. Ronnie as well, who now has full control of height, almost a snipe though from Booga. Another one misses 2, but a couple tags will put Ronnie on the back foot.
Back foot, but a risk for Booga because he's on the back side of where he has to go for zone. Not sure if he has a launch to get there. Clarity's already popping straight through. They were just side by side now. Worlds, eons, decades away from each other. Storm Box is moving forward. Ronnie still controlling height. It'll be a launch pad Booga uses to catch up on speed, but right now it's everyone using mobility to get to the front side of the zone. Near the back, Frisk just waits near the storm. Nico is trying to maybe even go for height. Ronnie is being very patient, looking at where exactly he needs to move to keep control.
And at the same time, in the picture-in-picture, we got Booga and Clicks, 2 of the biggest streams on Twitch right now, possibly going to go in a duel of fates, completely opposite sides of the zone. Booga with another shot. He makes it count, gets another elim. He's now up to 2 and has floppers to play with if he needs to play in the zone. At the same time, Ronnie is still up on height as Clicks finds one too in the center of everything, and floppers for him as well. Could all end up playing in zone.
Booga has no shields, though he has to be very careful, but at the same time, take big risks to come back. Now Skittles is next to Ronnie. This man will always go for that high play whenever possible. Clicks is on another box and finally gets another shot in. This man is not slowing down. Metal builds that are all his around him. It's doubling back. Booga is playing so much slower. Fresh now has height, dropping down Ronnie. Skittles, though, staying within range to just grab it back. Strobe goes down. Booga gets another pick. It's chaos on all sides. Everyone is activating on all cylinders here. It's insane.
And I'm just keeping track of a lot of different things. Booga finally goes down, cornered by a number of different people. Now we're looking at Clicks possibly making a high ground play, but only 300 builds left. It's only Wood. Gonna go up a layer though and getting ever so close to Frist, who has that shockwave launcher and is the biggest threat on the server. He's got Kaz down, and next threat possibly Clicks. He picks up a couple more brick. That's 50. That will make a lot of extra time for him, as there it is. Frist deciding where the target is. Gonna go back up. Clicks, no, it's Smacked, who beams him for a second. It looked like he was gonna play the zone, but he opens up and Smacked is waiting for him.
The most consistent player of the game, but he's going to be going up against bigger odds, bigger power now. So shockwave launcher on height with Frist. We saw him just take control of it very early on, and he's held onto it the entire time. Just one rocket left though. Nico versus Niddle near the storm, and Nico goes all the way up on a launch pad. He could get all the way through. Frist is going to refresh, and now just to hold on to height. No extra rockets go off that. Nico now has height on him. Ronnie on the mid ground, but it's a big fight near the top side. Who will control the game and possibly win a box down from Nico? Gets put in and churned out. The shockwave launcher, the last rocket beaming straight up. Frist has control, but for how long will that last? Grandma is waiting down below for whoever wins this to see who exactly will be in that final 1v1 though. It's gonna be Frist and Nico still fighting each other.
Yeah, and that fight's so impactful. Frist has wasted his last shockwave launcher, did not refresh anything else, so all he has now to rely on is pressure from above, and he will do that, just that. Nico must be running out of materials. Tries to take a return shot, but it's not gonna work. At the same time, Grandma down on that layer. Smacked as well. Clarity G in there too, and the big Ronnie. So many players vying for the top spot.
But at the top right now, Frist has no more shields left. He doesn't have the power in the position, but Nico is the one who has the damage. He's still moving forward, has proper position onto Frist. It seems like he still has the mats to boot. Might have just done a little bit of a fake. Frist is in trouble. Down below, Clarity gets a few picks off. Smack is still waiting in the stormer. Huge shot there from Ronnie. Traded now. He's box to box. Frist is inside. Grandma down below. Clarity gets picked up. On all sides of this end game, there are just picks happening over and over again. Smack is now the controller of mid ground. Nico ended up winning off of height. Grandma, though, is still the controller. No more water down below. He has the prime position at ultimate low ground. He needs to wait it out. Smack goes down below. Nico has a refresh on rocket, so he has the shockwave launcher just raining down with fall damage. He drops down to 1 HP. Grandma gets a refresh. Nico can't touch storm, and the shockwave launcher is his demise.
For the top 100 is around 108. My scoreboard might not be updating, but we can look at the top 3 right here, constantly changing. Aliens in first place